Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, we're winding her down. We're almost done. We got two more, I believe. Today, we do our in-depth dive on Micah Robinson, cornerback, Tulane. So there is no Beast Draft Guide report, so I went ahead and made my own. We've got a little bit of, if I recall, at least one question about him in the press conference. He also did a full press conference, which I just got done listening to, so we'll go through that and see what else we can find. But let's start with this to get a little bit of an in-depth overview of our newest corner. So, starting off, he was born February 5th, 2002, which would make him 23 years old, another one of the older guys in this crew. I'd like, maybe somebody did, but I'd be interested in asking Good if there was something about that. Not sure you'd get a straight answer, but it'd be worth asking. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, so another Georgia guy. He went to Westlake High School in South Fulton. It was the same program that produced A.J. Terrell, Pac-Man Jones, and Cam Newton. He was a high school team captain, led the team in interceptions both junior and senior year, which is going to be a big thing for him all throughout college and probably why he's a Green Bay Packer. Remember, as much as we focus on press man coverage, as much as we've talked about Hafley and press man coverage, Hafley himself has talked about eyes on the ball and getting the takeaways. That has always been his emphasis, and this guy can do that. Considered a high-character, coachable player with no known off-the-field issues. He spent most of his time at Furman University, which is an FCS school, from 2020 to 2023. Played 42 games there, had 103 tackles, 5 picks, 21 pass breakups. Initially was a backup as a freshman in 2020. In his sophomore year, he became a starter after a teammate's injury, had 30 tackles in 11 games. Junior year in 2022, had 3 interceptions, 35 tackles, and then his senior year in 2023, 34 tackles, 2 picks, and earned his communications degree from Furman. After that, presumably because of the extra year he's allowed due to COVID, he entered the transfer portal, went to FBS Tulane, entered the portal December 10th, and by December 18th, he had committed to Tulane. He had connections with Tulane's DB coach, Rob Green, who had recruited him out of high school. We're going to look at the PFF thing, too. It's pretty wild, but had a fantastic season. He started all 14 games. They had a 9-5 record, AAC championship appearance. He had 34 tackles, 2 interceptions, including a 90-yard pick six, 6 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble. In this case, they're counting the picks as pass breakups, which is fair, but just in case there's any question as to if I mention it later, PFF has it listed as 2 picks, 4 pass breakups. They characterize pass breakups as separate units. So 6 total pass interruptions, 4 of them being just breakups, 2 of them being a separate thing, which is interceptions. But anyways, led Tulane in passes defended, PFF's highest graded defender on the team with an 84.3 grade. Is that right? It is right. 80.7 coverage grade, also correct. Allowed only 1 touchdown all season, 52.8 passer rating when targeted. Second team all AAC honors. So I'm going to pause there for 1 second. The really cool thing about this, he's in an FCS school in Furman. Plays there kind of for 4 years, really for 3. And in those 3 years, he's good. 75, 74, and 70 PFF grades. He's good. Now, I can't imagine a guy that's good-ish in an FCS school is going to draw a ton of attention. Maybe. But everything about him is perfectly adequate. For those 3 years, he had a 65, 68, and 65 run defense grade, which really is great. 59, 79, and 73 tackling grades outside of the 1, which is basically a 60 dead average. Really good tackling. And then his coverage grades were 78, 75, and 70. Again, all plenty solid quality. But I'm not positive he's getting drafted if he came out last year from Furman. Maybe an undrafted free agent. Probably not drafted. He goes to Tulane, presumably a more difficult environment to compete and thrive in. His highest grade initially was a 75.2. His grade at Tulane was an 84. His run defense went from 3 years in the 60s to a 90. His tackling grade was a 69, which was technically his third highest, but it's still in that solid range. His coverage was an 81. Again, his coverage grades were 78, 75, and 70. So his best overall grade, best run defense grade, best coverage grade, after 3 full years at Furman, his best year by far was his 1 year at Tulane. And again, he really was solid. He had 1 game in coverage where he graded out below actually in both, but 1 game where he graded out below a 60, and that was against Oklahoma. He had a 59 overall grade and a 57 coverage grade. If that's the worst you've got, it's always kind of good when you don't see a ton of 90s, as much as obviously you love 90s and 80s and all that stuff. The good thing about it, though, is that sometimes that's the only reason. He's very consistently 60s, 70s. Every single game, he's 60s and 70s. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. 60 can be viewed as a negative, but if it means you're a baseline average player, it means you didn't have a bad day. So I found that to be quite impressive. The fact that not only could he rise to the occasion, but actually excelled. And I think the number one thing that comes to my mind about that is that he hasn't reached his potential as a corner, and the extra added coaching at Tulane made him better, even above and beyond how much more difficult it was going to be. That's how much growth he had due to better coaching. So let's explore what that ceiling is, I guess would be my thought. All right, continuing on, pre-draft process. Don't believe he went to the combine, but on the Tulane Pro Day, he ran a 4.42 40-yard dash. These are unofficial times, and the fastest that somebody did record him was 4.39, at least as far as what has been reported. The Packers could have a 4.38 for all we know and just didn't tell everybody. But, they're in pencil 4.42, but again, some had him faster. 35-inch vert, 10.3 broad jump, 7.143 cone, 4.55 20. His RAS score based on this would be a 6.41 and a speed-heavy profile. So it's, he's a smaller guy, and with that come generally higher expectations. So if you run a 4.42 at, 6'3", 200 pounds, that's different than being, smaller guy like he is. But the speed is there. Everything else, maybe not so much. Like 7.143 cone is not blowing anybody's socks off. By the way, did I skip this? Just dawned on me. I don't think I've said this yet. It's going to come up in his interview. If you haven't heard it yet, he is the cousin, second cousin, third cousin, whatever. I don't even know what a friggin' third cousin is. Your great-great-grandparents in common? How would you know that person? Anyways, he is in some way related to Malik Willis. Throwing that out there. His only pre-draft visit was with the Green Bay Packers. Packers had him in on their top 30 visit. Made a strong impression, quote, "I'm going to be back," he told coaches. Packers were impressed with his football IQ and his culture fit. He was selected 237 overall in the 7th round. Scouting report, elite ball skills, 7 career interceptions, 27 pass breakups, has a ball hawk mentality, has NFL caliber speed, very willing tackler, as we saw with the grades in college, despite being a smaller guy. It's the other thing, too, is tackling a lot of the times, size doesn't hurt, but a lot of the times it can come down to a mentality. I mean, we got defensive linemen that struggle with tackling. And then we've had some great corners, like I think Jair and like Stokes and Kevin, like some of those guys were pretty legit. Keyshawn is, I think, a pretty solid. I don't know necessarily what his numbers are, but he's made some plays for sure. A lot of it is a mentality, and I'm sure that plays into their thinking as far as special teams as well. Fast guy that's a willing tackler. Excels in off-man and zone, reads the quarterback's eyes well. His durability, played 56 games with no significant injuries. Again, was a high school captain, mature 23-year-old, driven work ethic as far as his character is concerned. Areas for development or not development, 5'11", 185 is not ideal NFL corner size. Needs some refinement in press coverage. Only 1 year at an FBS school, so competition level was low and below average 3-cone and shuttle times. Most of those are not really developmental areas, but they're not super great areas. Packers fit and projection. Obviously, special teams contributor comes immediately to mind. Gunner on punt coverage, or whatever they freaking call it these days. I think he's got a decent shot as being a depth corner because we don't have a ton of bodies in there, just in general. At the very least, he should have a practice squad spot locked up unless somebody just balls out and he just is kind of terrible. Hafley's zone-heavy scheme suits Robinson's style. Needs to develop his press man technique for Hafley's system. DB coach Derek Ansley will be key to his development. I do think he's a pivotal piece to this team, and I'm very excited that we have him. Very underrated piece of this equation here. Robinson represents classic Packers late-round strategy. Draft elite traits and develop the technique. His speed and ball skills give him legitimate upside, while his tackling ensures special teams value. If Hafley's staff can refine his press technique and maximize his natural abilities, Robinson could be another Day 3 success story in Green Bay's secondary. All right, let's take our first break here. We'll come back and do some of the interview stuff. We'll be right back. All right, so I think this might be the only question. We'll see, but this is Brian Gutekunst after the draft being asked about Robinson.
Like about the corner that you took, Robinson.
Yeah. He's got great feet. He can play off man coverage, which is one of the harder things to do. He took up a step from Furman to Tulane and really played really well in his first season there. So I think as he gets more reps against really better competition, I think he's going to continue to improve. He doesn't have elite size, but I thought his speed and his ability as an athlete to stay with guys, particularly from playing off coverage, which is so hard. And he's got great ball skills. So we brought him in here, got to know him a little bit more, and really liked him, and so we're excited for him.
It's cool that he kept mentioning. You could tell it was an emphasis, and I think all the other things are true as well. The fact that you've got a high ceiling, the fact that you've got the speed there, the fact that you've got the special teams ability. But, I mean, it sounds like he checked another box, too, which was the ability to play man and off coverage. I've never really heard that as a distinct thing before. I mean, I know it's a thing. I know sometimes you're off and you're playing either man or zone. But the fact that it's such a difficult... I mean, I always assumed press was really difficult. Maybe he didn't specifically say it was more or less difficult, but it's interesting to hear, and you can tell it was somewhat of an emphasis that maybe we didn't have a guy that could do that, or just that it's something that guys need to be able to do, and it's there are very rare exceptions in the fact that he can. It's interesting. We always look at the height, weight, and go, why would you pick him? He doesn't fit. It's like you don't understand how many of the other boxes he fit. Like, yeah, it sucks. I wish he was bigger, but if he was bigger and checked all those boxes, he probably would have been gone. But it's interesting. I'll have to keep that in the back of my mind. The ability to play man and off coverage being a very difficult thing that they wanted, and Micah Robinson can do it. It's actually a follow-up question with him, too.
Any qualms there? 183, holding up, run tackling, and then ended up getting hurt?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but I think the foot quickness, the hips, and the speed kind of, overrode that some a little bit. Made us want to take a shot on him.
Brian, you mentioned...
In other words, the negatives are negatives, and he's not going to pretend that they aren't. The injury issues, and he doesn't have... That's the other good thing. It's like, if he's a smaller guy that's already been injured, that probably bothers you more. It makes you feel a little bit more comfortable about it. I mean, some of it's unavoidable, but makes you feel a little better when he's been a durable guy at 183 or whatever he said. But, yeah, I mean... The negatives are the negatives, for sure. Not going to pretend they aren't. But the positives outweighed them to the point where we felt in the 7th round, we wanted to... And remember, 7th round is kind of priority undrafted free agents, right? You're kind of just getting a jump of guaranteed UDFAs that are on your team, and this was the top of the list. All right, so that is it for that. Let's get over to the Micah Robinson. He had a one-on-one with the press. Not sure if we'll do all of it or not, but it's worthwhile, and it's not like we have a ton else to do. So let's get to know him a little bit.
It's great, man. It's a blessing. Still feel real surreal, but I'm blessed for the opportunity. Can't do nothing but thank God.
What did it mean to you? I mean, you had to wait a while for that phone call to come. What did it mean to you when you finally saw that Green Bay report?
At the point when the drive came around, everything else was out of my control. No matter how long I had to wait, I knew it just had to be patient. And by the end of Saturday, I knew I was going to be on someone's team. But I'm just blessed to be on this organization, with this organization.
This is I believe this was your only visit. What is it like to have had that connection with them? They still had that faith in you and drafting.
Yes, sir. So sometimes it only takes one. One team to believe in you. And Green Bay believed in me. So I'm here now, and I'm here to give everything I got.
Micah, do you have any connections to anybody here, any players?
Yes, sir. Malik Willis, actually my cousin.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Sure. So
Yes,
did you
sir.
get a chance to see him?
Yes, I actually just saw him before I walked in here a couple minutes ago. I got a chance to talk to him. First time talking to him since being up here, actually.
I guess what was that first conversation once he saw that you were, drafted to the team?
He's just like, family, welcome, I'm blessed to be on this team, but it's also crazy that I'm on the same team as him.
When was the last time you saw him in person?
It's been a while. I've been in college, going back and forth from Furman and back and forth from Tulane. So this is my first time seeing him in a while.
How are you guys connected via family, if you don't mind me asking?
We're cousins, third cousins to be exact, second or third.
Mom.
One of them. Dad's side, my dad's side. Yes, ma'am.
So having a visit here, like obviously you knew he was on the team. Did you kind of allow yourself to think like, oh man, we could actually be on the same team?
I knew he went here during my visit. But like I said, this is my only visit. But it's a blessing to be on the same team as him. Yeah.
So you make the visit, then you end up getting drafted here. So what was it like? What were these last couple of days to come back to Green Bay when you were here before?
Yeah. So on my visit, I was joking with the coaches. Actually, I was like, I'm gonna be back. Hopefully I'll be back. And kind of just spoke it into existence. I had a great visit up here with them. Got to know the coaches. Got to tour the facilities. Loved everything about the culture. Loved everything about Green Bay. And now I'm back.
You've seen the success of late round corners has been documented here in Green Bay with Carrington and then Corey Valentine. When you see that level of success, does it give you an?
I will say it's always kind of funny to me when they ask questions as though these guys are Packers scholars. I mean, are we sure that he knows the long storied history of late round and undrafted free agents in Green Bay? Maybe. I remember. I'll never forget the one time. This was, I don't know if it was an undrafted free agent or a late round rookie or something, but they were going through orientation and coaches kept talking about, the history of everything. And one of the guys was saying, they keep talking about Lambo. Like, why do they keep talking about a Lamborghini? I don't understand why they keep talking about it. He didn't know the name Lambo. Either the historic person, Curly Lambeau, the fact that the stadium, the field is Lambeau Field. So, again, I don't know if I would assume these things, is all I'm saying.
Extra, bit of a leg up knowing, okay, if they've done it before, I can do it here.
Seeing it's been done before, that always gives you more confidence. But, just following those guys' footsteps, getting the trust from the veterans and things like that, then getting the trust from the coaches, that'll allow me to get on the field and show what I can do.
And then the big signing with Nate Hobbs coming here, and then you have John here in the room. Obviously, there's uncertainty there, but knowing you have vets that are going to teach you the ropes, how cool is it to come into a system
yes, sir.
that has that?
Yeah, so they were once in the same position as me. So, like I said, just following those footsteps, learning from them, learning the ins and outs of the defense, ins and out of the programs, of the team culture, everything.
Is there anyone on the defensive side of the football that you're really looking forward to playing with?
Say that again?
Is there anyone on the defensive side of the football that
Everybody, honestly, yes, sir, everybody.
Have you had the opportunity to connect with any of the current corners in the room yet? Kind of what have those conversations been like?
So, Kalen, everybody, honestly, all the rookies that have come in, it's rookie minicamp right now. So, just been talking with those guys, learning to play with those guys. It's been great.
When you look at the pieces that they have currently, like where do you feel like you fit in with the cornerback room, like based on your skill sets?
Honestly, anywhere. That could be the cornerback room, nickel room, anywhere. Special teams. I'm just wherever the coaches want to put me, I can play.
How breakneck is the last week for you? I mean, 168 hours ago, you are waiting to find out where you'll be playing football, and now you're here. What goes on in between those 7 days when you find out, hey, this is where I'm going, this is what I've got to do, and now I'm here?
Got blessed with the opportunity to come here. Now, this is the easy part for me, honestly, and that's playing ball. So that's what I have to do.
I know you're busy with college football, obviously, but did you get any opportunity during last season or maybe the previous season to kind of see what the Packers have done and just knowing, that they've made the playoffs and all that, and what does it mean to kind of join a team that's made it to those places? Yes,
ma'am. It's a Packers. This is it's a historic franchise. It's a great franchise to be a part of. That's another reason why I'm blessed to be a part of the program, and I'm looking to just contribute to that, win another Super Bowl.
What do you want to get out of this weekend, just these couple days with this little mini camp? Like, what are you hoping to get out of it for yourself?
Right now I'm just, learning the ins and outs, learning the whole coach of the program, learning how to insert myself in, and whatever the coaches tell me to do, in our reality, I'll just do it.
I think I saw that you said that you kind of go after the ball when it's in the air. Kind of what have those conversations kind of been like your Jeff Hafley and the way that he kind of designs plays for the corners to kind of get after it and be aggressive?
He brought me here because he knew I could make plays. So that's all it is, honestly. Just go out there, do my job, make plays, no matter what position it is.
Last year, the Packers were one of the best teams in terms of forcing turnovers. How excited does that get you to join a group that loves to ball hawk?
Yeah, you see some people make turnovers, that makes you want to go create turnovers. So, yeah, that's it with that.
Micah, were you a vision guy? Did you guys play your scheme with eyes on the quarterback, or did you do a lot of man coverage? And how do you think it fit, given that, with how they like to play here?
Yeah, so at Tulane, we played quarters. We played a lot of man. Learning the playbook here. For the last 2 days, been learning the playbook, and it's coming along pretty well. I'm understanding everything pretty well, so it's just honestly learning different techniques, adding new tool bags, tools to my bag.
I'm sorry, how does it fit the tools that you already have? Like, where do you best fit in the way they like to play based on what you've seen here for 2 days?
Yeah, so like you said, I could play man, I could play zone. Also, I could play off-man coverage if that's needed. So.
I'm sorry if you've been asked this already, but have you had a chance to catch up with some of the guys, maybe on defense or just in the secondary? And who are some of those guys? And I guess what have those conversations kind of been like?
So I talked to some older guys, but most of the time, I've been with the other rookies, just getting to know them, getting to know the playbook with them.
So. What's been your impression just on Green Bay and just early?
It's great. I'm happy to be here. I'm blessed to be here, honestly.
Micah, you're a young man. How ready are you for the professional? It's a job now.
Yes,
How
sir.
ready are you for that aspect of life?
Ball is ball. I always say ball is ball. So at the end of the day, it's football. Football doesn't change much, but I'm looking to follow in the footsteps of those older guys. Learn from them, and just step into my role.
How much are you looking forward to getting out on the field tomorrow and just showing this team why they drafted you?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to just being on the field, doing my job, making sure I got all the right keys, making sure my eyes are right and whatnot.
When OTAs get going, like at the end of the month, things are going to be real competitive, obviously.
Yes, sir.
So what do you want to show these coaches? Like,
yes, sir.
What type of first impression do you want to make when things really get going?
Yes, sir. I want to show them I can play any position, whether that's nickel or corner. I want to play special teams, but kind of with my skill set, like I said, I want to show them you could put me anywhere. They could put me anywhere on the field, and also be like a low maintenance guy whenever they need me. Just go out there and do what I have to do.
Last season, when you made the transition to Tulane, where did you see the most growth in your game over the last year?
Most growth in my game, honestly, I would say the film room. We had a lot of older guys transfer in with me at Tulane, and one of the other corners actually got drafted. One of the other DBs got one of the other corners signed too. So, just being in the film room with those guys, becoming a film junkie. That's where I think I grew the most.
Last one for Micah.
What went into your decision to transfer and why Tulane? How'd you end up?
Relationships, honestly, transfer portal gets crazy, but I already knew the defensive coordinator that was over there, and then one of the other defensive back coaches that was over there recruited me out of high school. So just had already built that relationship, and Tulane was also the only visit I took out of the portal.
Really?
Yes, sir. So. Loyal to a program that loves me, so that's how I ended up at Tulane.
And how'd you know the DC?
He coached at Wofford, and then defense back coach Rob Green, he had coached at Wofford as well and recruited me in high school. So,
all right, so there you go. Again, take what you can from that. Sounds like a good dude that we already covered, but I think it gives us a pretty full and complete picture of who he is, what he can bring, kind of what the ceiling and floor is for him. I mean, obviously the floor is zero production, but the presumed floor is reason to believe he could be a solid special teams contributor. And then if he can be a corner, here are sort of those attributes you're looking at. Why don't we take a break? I want to go through some of the PFF stats. There's no SAS or anything like that, but we got some PFF stats we can go through, and we'll see where we're at after that. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so digging into some of the PFF stuff a little bit. So we looked at his main profile just in general, right? 84 grade, 81 coverage, 52.8 passer rating, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very good year. If we look at him compared to other corners in all of college football, which, remember, college football is ridiculous. Let me just take a quick look. 3 pages, out of 498 corners. Poor Eric McLean of Ball State, just having a rough go of it. The worst corner in the entire nation. Micah Robinson surprisingly ranks a lot higher than I would have thought. In all of college football, he was tied for the 15th highest graded corner. Now, competition level, the whole thing. But he is one spot behind Trey Amos. In fact, of the guys that we're aware of, the only ones that are graded higher, and aware of, I mean like first-ish round guys, whatever. Trey Amos 14th, Travis Hunter 7th, Jahdae Barron 2nd. Savone Revel is behind him at 17th. Kobe Bryant 34th, et cetera, et cetera. Noel Williams 42nd, all the way down. I don't even know where everybody is, but so he's very high on this list overall. Coverage alone, he's tied for 42nd, which isn't a terrible thing. I mean, it's still an 81 PFF grade. He's tied with Kalen Moore, still extremely high. It also points to the fact that he's got an 81, and it's all up from there. A lot of that has to do with his run defense and tackling being as good as it is. He had a 90 run defense grade. Let's see, what else? His NFL passer rating was 35th, his 52.8. Some of the other statistics I got here, not as flattering. Snaps per target, he's not in the top 200. Snaps per reception, he ranks 198th. Doesn't necessarily one-to-one correlate with how good you are, but it's certainly not a terrible thing. A lot of other factors go into that, like the other corners around you and whatnot. If you look at man coverage percentage, how often was he doing it? He wasn't in the top or bottom 200, so he's somewhere in the middle as far as his percentage. His coverage grade in man coverage was a 68. He ranked 116th on that. Again, college, you got to think a little bit differently. If you had a 68 grade man coverage in the NFL, you would certainly not be 116th. In zone, pretty similar as far as the percentage of the time that he was in zone. He was the 179th least. So, again, pretty in the middle. But this is obviously where he was thriving in zone coverage. He has the 27th highest coverage grade when playing zone coverage. He's tied with Brian Blades. Just looking at some of the guys who graded out higher than him. Travis Hunter was 11th. Jahdae Barron was number 1. Now, there's a lot of people who wish we drafted Jahdae Barron who are just seething right now. I get it. But, again, Savone Revel, lower. Trey Amos, lower. In zone coverage, he was tied for 75th with like a billion people as far as how many forced incompletions he had, which was 4. 139th in forced incompletion percentage, again tied with a ton of people, 15%. He was 70th overall in pass breakups with 3, tied for 25th in interceptions with 2, and was the 13th highest or 13th best, and really this is not even... I don't know how many of these people should be even included in here. A couple of these you could probably take out, but 13th best NFL passer rating when targeted in zone coverage. 23.2 NFL passer rating when targeted in zone coverage. Darian Porter is the only guy that, again, relatively high pick that was higher. He was number 1 at 0 passer rating when targeted. However, he was only targeted 10 times, so... should he be included? I don't know. Isaiah Rutherford, who was ranked 2nd, was targeted 2 times. He probably shouldn't be included. Jalen Mabaki 4 times, OJ Frederic 9 times. I mean, if the bare minimum is 10, we got to get rid of 3 guys, which would put him at 10th. Either way, regardless of the comparisons, being at a 23.2 is wild in zone coverage. Again, the snaps per target, snaps per reception, even in zone, still not the greatest. He's not in the top 200 in snaps per target, which really just means he's targeted a lot. And as a result of that, he's probably going to give up more receptions also, but 155th in snaps per reception. It's always good that he's disproportionately better at snaps per reception than snaps per target. And then as far as snaps from the slot, he didn't do very much of it. Jaden Lewis was their slot guy. He played 6 snaps in coverage, was targeted 2 times, gave up 1 reception for 16 yards while in the slot. NFL passer rating of 77.1, giving up 2.67 yards per snap, which is not great. 3 snaps per target, 6 snaps per reception. But that's about all I got. Again, these are probably going to be, even tomorrow's going to be even shorter, probably, but we'll see what happens if there's anything in the news. I do want to touch a little bit on this rookie minicamp. Seems like it's my obligation to spend a lot of time talking about basically no news, but we might as well. We got, 15 seconds worth of footage and whatnot from that. Watch out for Taylor Elgersma. But we'll see. I'm going to leave it at that, though. I'm not going to stretch this out just for the sake of time. It's tempting, but the quality is going to be garbage, so let's just not. With that, I'm going to leave you to it. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Have a good one. Bye-bye.